Living in Scottsdale is not all rainbows and puppy dogs. In fact, I have a list of pros and cons, reasons you will love to live here, and some reasons you might not love living here. And they're all things you have to think about before moving here. Now, if you think I missed anything on this list, make sure you post it in the comments down below. So let's jump into these in no particular order, but we are going to start with the very first one that most people think about. And that's pro number one, our weather. Everyone knows that we have about 7 to 8 months of perfect weather here in Scottsdale. In fact, it's one of the reasons so many people move here. They visit, they fall in love, and then they end up moving. The temps during this time of year are between about the 70s and the 80s, and it's really funny. As soon as that temperature changes, the amount of people that you see out hiking, biking, walking, doing anything that they can outside grows exponentially. Now, one of the things that people love to do when the weather is good is open their house up. This is why we are starting to see more and more homes having those huge sliding glass walls of windows, so that when the weather's beautiful, they can just open those up and add more living space to their home. Outside living feels like inside. Now, while we are talking about the weather, we just talked about it being a pro, but we also have to talk about it being a con because, well, it is. During the summer months, it's hot here. There is no getting around it, and you just have to learn to live with it. Kind of like learning how to live in the snow if you live in a winter climate. Now, Arizona has seen a day as hot as 128, and unfortunately, I can tell you, I experienced it. But that is not the norm. The normal temperatures range about 105 to 110. However, we do get some stretches in the summertime that are 110 plus for multiple days. And when those days stretch on, it gets brutal. Now, the heat really does last from about May through September, sometimes even into October. The joke around here is, are your kids going to be cold in their Halloween costumes? Or are they going to be burning up and sweating in their Halloween costumes? We just never know. Sometimes in October, around that Halloween time, we can see a little last spike of that heat. But after that, it really does cool down. And in the summertime, if you really need to get a quick trip out of the heat, Flagstaff is at 7,000 feet and only about an hour and a half to 2 hours away, which people really do take advantage of when they're living down here in the Valley of the Sun. Now, when our weather is perfect, we have to talk about some of the other pros about living in Scottsdale. And those are outdoor activities, events, nightlife, and spas. Now, here in Scottsdale, we do not lack any hiking, biking, horseback riding, or boating. Yep, most people don't realize we have lakes here, and a lot of people have boats. Right here from Scottsdale, you can go hike the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve, getting to it through Gateway Trailhead, Brown's Ranch, or Tom's Thumb. There are also a few subdivisions that you can directly connect to some of these trails, like McDowell Mountain Ranch, Wingate Ranch, and DC Ranch. In fact, a lot of people that choose to live in any of these subdivisions do so because of the proximity to some of these amazing outdoor activities. Now, we also have the iconic Pinnacle Peak here in North Scottsdale, which has an amazing hiking trail. Now, from Scottsdale, you are not far from Camelback Mountain, which is in Paradise Valley, which is another iconic mountain that people love to hike. And if you're in South Scottsdale or Central Scottsdale, there is an amazing green belt where you can walk, hike, bike, and get to so many places right along that green belt. And now for the events in Scottsdale. These really kick off in about January with the Barrett-Jackson car auction. And then you go into the Arabian Horse Show. And then we've got the Phoenix Open. And do not forget about spring training here. Then you also have these amazing food truck and taco festivals and the Scottsdale Art Walk. And this year we have the Super Bowl. Now, we don't just have events in winter and spring. We also have events in our fall, one of them being the Bentley Scottsdale Polo Championship. Then you have concerts at the Musical Instrument Museum, and these happen all year long. Now, if you want to learn more about some of these other events, I did a video, I'm going to put it right here. And now onto the nightlife being a pro. We have amazing restaurants and bars here. In fact, Scottsdale has most recently started beating out Nashville as the top bachelorette destination. Now, South Scottsdale is known to have a very active bar scene in that Old Town Scottsdale area. But if that's not your scene, don't worry. There are many options. And over the past few years, we have had multiple chefs move from places like New York and LA and start their own restaurant here. I mean, these are James Beard awarded chefs. They have wanted to leave the hustle and bustle of some of these big cities and come to a smaller city, but still needed to make sure that they had the patrons needed to keep their restaurants going. And Scottsdale was their place of choice. So now onto the spas in Scottsdale. These are top-notch, relaxing experiences. So many of these spas are at the resorts here in Scottsdale. So not only do you have the luxury of enjoying the spa, but oftentimes also all of the amenities that the resort has to offer. Now, because we have multiple resorts here in the Scottsdale area, you will often hear people talk about a staycation. Well, this is where the locals actually go to some of these amazing resorts during the summertime. Instead of getting on a plane and flying somewhere else, they stay in Scottsdale to enjoy all of these amenities at a fraction of the price. Now, another pro in this whole outdoor activity category is golf. But because we're in Scottsdale, this deserves to be talked about all on its own. Golf for Scottsdale is really one of the things that it's known for. Now, this kind of goes back to what we talked about before. People come here on vacation to play golf, they fall in love with Scottsdale, and they end up moving here, and golf is a big reason for this. You really can play year-round. Now, in the summertime, you are teeing off with the rise of the sun, but for golf enthusiasts, it's worth it. Now, here in Scottsdale, we have everything from exclusive private golf courses to public courses. We have over 200 golf courses just in Scottsdale. So if golf is your thing, we have got you covered. Now, the next pro are property taxes. We have the 8th lowest property taxes in the US, and it's one of the reasons so many people leave their high tax states to move to Arizona. Now, some people are even moving here from states that don't have state income taxes because their property taxes are so high. If they look at Arizona's taxes, and then they look at the taxes where they're coming from, it's either a wash or sometimes they come out ahead. Overall, our property taxes and state sales taxes are lower than a lot of the other big major cities, which drives people to Arizona. Now, the con to this, however, is our affordability, which is not what it used to be. You might have lower property taxes, but the cost of your house is significantly higher. Right now, our annual median sales price in Scottsdale is $817,000. Just 2 years ago, it was $560,000. Our prices have jumped pretty significantly. Now with interest rates rising, this is really decreasing people's buying power, but it's not just homes. Everything is more expensive. Now, Scottsdale was never the least expensive place to live in Phoenix, but costs have risen here, so it is just something to be aware of. And while we're talking about costs, we have to talk about our next con, and that is that you have to have a car when you live here. Phoenix as a whole is a sprawling city, and Scottsdale is no exception. Scottsdale alone is 31 miles long, so getting from place to place, you are going to need a car. Now, in many other cities, there are areas that are actually walkable, but in Scottsdale, we just don't really have those. There are only a few areas in that South Scottsdale area that might be considered walkable, but you are still going to need a car. And now for the next two. So one is definitely a con, and the other one, it's going to really depend on your view. So the first is our water. And overall, Arizona and many other Western states are in a mega drought. So being good stewards of our water is imperative right now. The only good thing about Scottsdale Water is that they have a long history of being very strategic with their overall water resources. We in Scottsdale have an award-winning advanced water treatment facility, extensive groundwater recharging practices. So overall, Scottsdale is in good shape for their water, but it still needs to be at the forefront of everyone's mind for overall conservation. And the second one is politics. Arizona has always been known to be a more conservative state, but that's not to say that there aren't areas of Arizona that have a more liberal stance. Over the past few years, with a lot of people moving from more liberal states into Arizona, people that have lived here their whole life or for a really long time have voiced their opinion about those moving from those liberal states wanting to change Arizona to more like where they came from. You will hear things and see things like, "Don't California my Arizona." People living in Arizona don't want to see their state change to be more like the liberal states that these people came from. So for this one, it's really going to depend on your viewpoint. Another big pro to living in Arizona is there is no estate tax. Meaning when you pass, those inheriting money from you will not have to pay state income tax on that, no matter the size of their inheritance. For this reason alone, it's the reason that we have seen and continue to see the amount of people retire in Arizona. Overall, people as well as businesses continue to move to Arizona because of the lower taxes and less regulation on everything. Now, if you liked this video, take a look at this one where I talk about all the luxury neighborhoods in Scottsdale. If I can answer any questions for you, please feel free to reach out. As always, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.